Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I'm Josh Davis, affectionately known as Crash, and I have Joe Servati with me here on the road, and we're dedicated over here, and we're giving you today's podcast. It's Friday, March 25th, 2022, and we're here to talk about tonight's NBA slate.
Crash, how are you, sir?
Doing well, Coach. Looks like you're rocking on the road there. You got your big screen TV right behind you and ready
That's
to go.
Right.
Yep.
I am on the road, and right now I'm halfway between Louisville and Cincinnati. So making some good time. A lot of long road trip though, that's for sure. But we did not want to miss a day. We've been on this ridiculously hot streak in prize picks. Knock on wood, we keep that going. And wanted to jump on here with you and go over the slate. It's a nice 7-gamer today.
Yeah, we got a nice 7-game slate, so we got a lot to get into. We're also going to give our prize picks plays today during the show, so you definitely want to stay for that. Before we get into the podcast, just real quick, want to thank all of our members and our subscribers. If you could give us a like and a thumbs up here on the YouTube video and hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed. That helps us to move up the algorithm. And if you want to join us, you can join us at dfscoachtalk.com. I am on Twitter at jpdavis1982. Coach is at Joe Servati. And we are at DFS Coach Talk on Twitter. So please join us there. You ready to get into it?
I am. I also want to thank our presenting sponsor, Prize Picks. If you go to prizepicks.com, sign up. Make sure you use that promo code Coach Talk, though. All one word, no space. You get a free match all the way up to $100 put right into your account. And as you know, we're still shooting at that 80% number. So Prize Picks Mania for sure for us here at Coach Talk.
Definitely. All right, so let's get into it here. We've got, like I said, we've got a nice 7-game slate. The first game is going to be at 7 Eastern. It's the Utah Jazz coming in at 45-28. They're fourth in the Western Conference against the Charlotte Hornets. They're 37-36, just sitting at 9th in the Eastern Conference. They're trailing trailing Atlanta by only 1 game for that 10th and final play-in spot. The Jazz are favored by 3.5. This game has a 231.5 implied total. When it comes to the efficiency rankings, Utah ranks first in offensive efficiency. They are 8th in defensive efficiency. They're 21st in pace. And Charlotte is 8th in offensive efficiency and 22nd in defensive efficiency. So...
Okay.
For the injuries, we've got Hassan Whiteside is day-to-day, so he's going to be listed as questionable. And then we have Azubuike, Bogdanovic, and Daniel House are out.
Okay.
So who do you like here, Coach, in this first matchup?
I think the standout here is Donovan Mitchell. I mean, it's just a great matchup for him. I like his price. He's going to get some additional shots, especially if Bogey's out again, which I'm thinking he will be.
Right.
Just a good pace game for him as far as, at his position, playing the wing and sometimes the point. I just think it's a good fit. He's my top play in this game from that side of the ball. Also, Rudy Gobert, not a bad play here either. Has, again, they don't run anything for him, so offensively he's somewhat has a floor that's not too conducive, but overall could be a big rebounding game and stocks in general. So those would be the 2 guys I'd look for from that side of the ball.
Yeah, I like Rudy Gobert as well here. He's 7,600 on both sites. Charlotte's allowed the 5th most fantasy points to centers. The last time he played them was on December 20th. He had 23 points and 21 rebounds for 55.75 DK points. So, like I said, that was earlier this year on December 20th. So it's been a little bit of a, time in between there. But I do like Rudy Gobert. I also like for Charlotte, I like Miles Bridges. He's 7,800 on both sites. He scored 40-plus DK points in 3 of his last 5 games. So I do like Bridges on the Charlotte side.
For Charlotte, for me, I'm really honed in on Terry Rozier. I just like this matchup for him. I think that, he's got a chance to stuff the stat sheet with some rebounds, a lot of scoring. His assist ratio is even improved. LaMelo's minutes have been a little wonky lately, and sometimes he gets a ton of minutes, but big bump. There's been a lot of games where he doesn't get a ton of minutes, and when he doesn't, you got to remember Terry Rozier is a point guard at heart. He played point for the Celtics for a long time, and with the extra minutes whenever ball's off the floor, he's definitely getting those assists. And sometimes he's even running alongside the old timer Isaiah Thomas, and he's going to just shoot only. So I just like the whole build around what Rozier can bring in this game.
Yep, I like it too. Let's move on to the next game. It's also a 7 o'clock Eastern game. It's the Washington Wizards coming in at 30-42. They're sitting at 12th in the East, 5.5 games behind Atlanta for that last play-in spot. At the Detroit Pistons, and they are eliminated from the playoffs, so not a lot of motivation for them coming into this game. For some reason, Detroit's actually favored by 2.5, which was surprising to me. But in this game has the second lowest implied total on the slate at 218, so probably not going to go to many plays in this game. But Washington in offensive efficiency, they're tied with Indiana at 19th. In defensive efficiency, they're 25th. Pace, they're tied for 22nd. And then for Detroit, they're 28th in offensive efficiency, 24th in defensive efficiency, and in pace, they're tied for 13th with the Clippers. So both of these teams are not very good, honestly. On the injury report, we've got Kyle Kuzma and Vernon Carey are questionable. Diallo, Chris Smith, and Isaiah Livers are out. The only play that I really liked here, Coach, is a value play in Corey Kispert. He's 4,300 on DraftKings, 3,800 on FanDuel. Detroit's allowed the second most fantasy points to small forwards. So what stands out to you, if anything, in this game?
Well, it's hard not to have some interest in Porzingis if Kuzma sits, but it is the second night of a back-to-back, and we all know Porzingis is not much to be counted on, especially on back-to-backs, but he did play in the last one. So I'll keep an eye on that. His price is a little too high right now, but if Kuzma does sit and I can make it fit, I would. Other than that, it's just really, for me, the 3 value pieces for Washington, of which I would only play one of them. But Kispert, Hashimura, and Avdia in that order would probably be the 3 guys that I would try to pluck one out for a value play that could get there. Again, they don't have a whole lot to play for, just, so you don't want to count too much. And the total in this game is pretty bad. So on the Detroit side, same thing. You've got guys that are a little too expensive for this type of a game. Cunningham's a lot, and Bay's no giveaway either. Grant, is okay price, but I don't think I'm gonna, dial up anybody. I don't want to spend that extra salary when there's a lot of good other options here. So this game could be a complete pass for me, or maybe go with just a value play on the Washington side, or if I can make it fit Porzingis if Kuzma sits.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. Not sure if I'm going to get anyone in this game. If I do, it would be, like you said, one of the value plays. So with that, I think we'll move on to the next game. At 7:30 Eastern, we've got the Golden State Warriors, currently third in the West at 48-25. At the Atlanta Hawks are 36-37. So they're They're currently in the last playoff spot or play-in spot in the East. So both of these teams have something to play for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Atlanta actually comes in here favored by 2. A little bit surprising to me. I would have thought Golden State would be favored, but without Steph Curry,
they've been playing bad too.
Yeah, without Steph Curry, it makes sense though. So Atlanta's favored by 2. Golden State's about middle of the pack in their pace. They're 15th. Their offensive efficiency is 13th, and then they continue to be a top defensive team with a second ranking in defensive efficiency. For Atlanta, they come in with a 22nd pace. They're 3rd in offensive efficiency, so they're really efficient in their offense. And then their defense has been struggling. They're ranked 26th. As far as injuries go, Golden State, Steph Curry, Iguodala, and James Wiseman are out. And then John Collins is out still for Atlanta. Who do you like in this game, Coach? Do you like Trae Young? I mean, he's been pretty hot lately, but he is facing that tough Golden State defense.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be off Trae today just because, a couple of reasons. Number one, first of all, I do like this game. And a lot of people I don't think will, but there are a couple of reasons. I think Golden State is going to have a chip on their shoulder. Draymond sort of chewed him out in the post-conference game afterwards the other day. They're playing sloppy. They're going to be very offended that they're underdogs to Atlanta. And I think they come out and play well here. And this game, I think, is going to be competitive. And there's some mispricing on FanDuel here as well for both sides. The two guys I'm going to go to automatically on FanDuel, I think that where you see some underpriced is Klay Thompson on FanDuel, and also Draymond Green on the other side of the ball.
Yeah,
they're $1,500 or something cheaper than they are on DraftKings. So those two are pretty easy plays. I know Jordan Poole's going to be very very popular, but I'm not completely sold there. I think I'd prefer to go to Klay. But again, on FanDuel, on DraftKings, it may be a different story because I do want exposure to the Golden State side. Even Wiggins is a thought, but Draymond definitely, and Thompson with a backup to Poole and Wiggins. But I will have probably 2 exposure on that side. And on the Atlanta side, Trae is extremely expensive, so it makes it a little bit difficult there. But I think you can find some secondary mid-level pricing guys, that could step up, like a Bogdanovich, a Herter, even a Hunter. So I'd like to get a piece of Atlanta on that side of the ball. Capella is just not getting it done. He's really splitting time with the Kongwu, so that's a little bit, difficult. But I think I'm going to really just look at that second tier group of guys, which includes Gallinari. He's not listed out or anything, is he? Gallo, any new news on him?
Playing. Yeah, I believe he's in.
Okay. So Gallo's in that group then with the other ones that I mentioned, Bogdanovich, Herter, Hunter, and Gallo. Probably going to pluck one of those out of there and just try to figure out, which one is a good guy to even the playing field for that game, as far as trying to make sure it's a higher scoring game, I think, that it's listed as. And I think exposure here is pretty sneaky. I mean, everybody's going to go Poole, but on FanDuel especially, you just can't pass up the bargains.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting because Golden State's coming off that win at Miami, which I thought was a little bit surprising to me. So
yeah, but I don't really count that one. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't really count that one as a Draymond and guys kind of win. It almost works to me, even inspiring those main guys from Golden State even more, because they sat that one out and they played like dog doo-doo the few games before that.
Right.
So can you hear Draymond and Klay in the huddle saying, hey, our backups went in there and beat Miami. We lost 2 tank games where we were terrible. We need to show up for this game. And Atlanta's defense is horrible. So it's a perfect spot for them to attack. I really do like Golden State here. And from the prop players out there, I'd jump on them too as an underdog in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I agree. I like a little bit of a value here in Gary Payton II. He's only 4,000 on FanDuel, 3,800 on DraftKings. The shooting guard position, they've allowed the 10th most fantasy points to Atlanta has. And I think there's going to be some opportunities for him to get some playing time. He's a little bit more back in the swing of things with their offense now. He's been back for a few games. So I do like Gary Payton as a value play. Jordan Poole and Trae Young are pretty obvious. You may play one of them. Trae Young, not the best matchup for him, so I'd probably lean more towards Poole. But he is going to be chalky, so you have to take that in consideration. Anything else on this game, or do you want to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
All right, so for the 8 o'clock games, we have the New York Knicks, 31-42. They're five games behind Atlanta for that last play-in spot. At the Miami Heat, 47-26, first in the East, 1 game ahead of Milwaukee. They are favored by 5.5 points in this game. This game has the lowest implied total on the slate at 215.5. The big news here on the injury report is Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle are questionable, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that for sure. And then for Miami, they have quite a few injuries as well. They've got Robinson, Tucker, Caleb Martin, Tyler Hero, and Jimmy Butler are all questionable. So in my opinion, at this point, I don't really know that we can go much into this game, Coach, until we get that news.
Yeah, it's a low total, and defense will be better in this game than you want for DFS purposes. Number 2, there's 9 million guys that may be in or out that could affect it and create a situation where there's value or that we want to get to, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
And then the third element is even more confusing, is Miami with this big blow up on the sidelines. That was something else, man, with Haslam saying he's going to kick Butler's ass, and they're arguing, and Spoelstra threw out about 25 F-bombs. It was crazy.
Right.
But here's the problem I have with that. I love these. Those are the kind of things I feed off of, because you usually can get a good read from a team, but I don't know how this is going to turn out. It either is going to be, which I think I'm leaning towards this thought, a rallying cry. It's Pat Riley, it's Eric Spoelstra, it's the Heat organization. They're going to get behind closed doors, MF the living daylights out of each other, and say, now listen, we're brothers, we're out there, we're in battle together. We put this behind us and we win. So I do think that's the approach they'll take. But there was some pretty nasty stuff said. Did you hear some of the other stuff that was said?
I didn't catch that.
So what instigated it is Butler yelled to Haslam, because they had words on the side. He yelled to Haslam, the only reason you have any rings is because you rode Dwayne Wade's coattails. So that really pissed him off.
Yeah.
And so that then he chirped back at Butler and said, and got just all over his stuff, that you've never won anything and you're this and you're that. So, I mean, it got personal. And so, if it divided some of the sides, you get that with Butler. Let's face it, everywhere he's been, Cat wouldn't even take the court with him. He was so afraid of him. It was, that comes a little bit with the territory. And I'm hoping that the Heat are able to rally around it. But I'm going to tread very lightly for a game or two and see how this plays out with the Heat, because it could go either way. Although I expect, because of the tremendous respect I have for Riley and Spoelstra, that it'll go the right direction. So let's keep an eye on it, because, you could get massive value in this game. If Hero's the only scorer going, if Toppin's in for Randall. I mean, there are some really good value spots, but we just have to wait and hear the news.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we got 3 games left. Game 5, we've got the your Dallas Mavericks, 45-28, fifth in the West at the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're seventh in the West. Minnesota is favored by 2 in this game. It has a 228 implied total, the third highest on this slate. Dallas is the slowest pace in the league. Their offensive efficiency is 16th. They're very good defensively. They're 6th, tied with Memphis. Minnesota, this is just such a contrast of styles here. They are the fastest paced team in the league. They have 10th in offensive efficiency and then 12th in defensive efficiency. So good in both areas there. So, Coach, we've got a little bit of the irresistible force in Minnesota versus the immovable object in Dallas. So what do you like in this game, and who are you looking to fade?
Well, I'll tell you right off the bat, it's Luka Doncic is a free square on FanDuel. He's 10-4 or 10-6. It's a joke. I can't believe they have him at a mid-10 price against the fastest team in the league. It doesn't play great defense, and he's had a game where he's rested. And if you look back at his career, when he's rested, he is terrific. It's the games he gets inefficient and sloppy and turns it over when he's tired. So, I mean, at 10-6, 10-4, whatever it is on FanDuel, 100% everything, cash, hybrid, single entry, GPPs. If you can get your neighbor to take a bet on it, bet him a case of beer as well. So I love him there. I also like him at the elevated price on DraftKings for all of those reasons I just said. I think he's my pay up guy. And people are going to, that don't watch this all the time are going to say, Coach is a homer. He plays Luka all the time. Well, that's not true at all. Luka often is a fade for me, or he's priced out, or I'll go elsewhere. But you don't get a much better spot. He's rested. It's against the fastest team in the league. They're the slowest team. So, I mean, I'm all over Luka. I don't think it's the worst play. If you can't get to Luka on DraftKings, I don't think Brunson or Dinwiddie are bad plays, but I will say this. I'm not going to go to Brunson or Dinwiddie because they're priced up a little bit now. And Luka's, when he's on the floor with those three guys, you would think, okay, with Dinwiddie and Brunson on the floor with him, if they and that's not going to be the whole game. They'll rotate. They bring Dinwiddie in off the bench usually for Luka or Brunson, either way. But when they're all three on the floor, even if that is the scenario, Luka's numbers go up because what happens is they have to guard those other guys. It's not like they have the other scrubs that can't drop an 8-footer in, like Josh Green and Dwight Powell and sometimes Maxi Kleba. We're talking about, NBA scorers in those two guys. So that opens some lanes up for Luka, which is all he needs. And then his assist ratio goes through the roof. Now, I'm going to say something here. There's somebody in front of me in the passing lane going 55 miles an hour. Now, should that person not be arrested or get over there, Grandma, get over? Okay, sorry about
This is the content you don't get with any other podcast right here.
You don't get that. And let me see. Hopefully I don't get shot when I go by. Let's see who it is. Oh, God bless her. It's just a young girl. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's probably first time drop. Anyway, totally lost her. So Luka's numbers go through the roof there. So don't be afraid, and think for a second, oh, well, sometimes Dinwiddie or Brunson are out, so it's going to hurt, Luka with all of them in. It doesn't. His assist ratio is like insane, like 40%. And I mean, Luka's just a fantastic play here. I'm not sure how you get away from him. And really, I don't think you have to dig much deeper. Don't dive on Dwight Powell right away. People like to, think Powell is such a fantastic play. I know that Luka gives him some good alley-oops, and he gets some interior, and he's not badly priced. But you'll find, and this is very interesting, but take note of this, when Luka's out is a better time to play Powell. And I'll tell you why. Mavericks play way faster with Luka out. Luka is playing similar to the way Harden did when he was with the Rockets, and he was a one-man show, and he was, dribble, clear out, send a guy through, dribble, penetrate, look for the open guy, swing it to a wing. Well, that's almost the whole shot clock. So, but when he's out, you have Dinwiddie and Brunson that play much faster, and they're handling the ball. They're running that high pick and roll, and they're letting Powell get out on the fast break. So make a mental note of this. When Lucas sits, Powell is an awesome play because Dinwiddie and Brunson are going to get him out and running. And Powell's not a post-up half-court guy.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be extended, run the floor, and run the break. So Luka, great play, not going to go anywhere else with Dallas. With Minnesota, I like the wing defense right now that the Mavericks are playing. When they have Bullock in there, and he was out for a while and not playing as well, he's just such a perimeter defender. I mean, people underestimate those perimeter defenders. You can't find them in the NBA. Look at what happened when KCP left the Lakers this year. They can't guard anybody away from the basket. And look what's happened to the Knicks since Reggie Bullock left. Same thing. They can't guard anybody on the perimeter. But Bullock, I think, will lock down a guy like Anthony Edwards, and you'll get some scrappy D from Dinwiddie and Brunson on guys like D'Angelo Russell. So I'm not playing the wings at all for Minnesota. Those are my fades. And it is, they're going from the fastest pace, playing the slowest pace. Not crazy about really anybody there. What I'll say this, though. If Cat sits, Naz Reid, plug and play, start. If he's going to start, if Cat sits, Reid, I don't think he will, though. It's just a contusion on his arm. I would play Reid in a heartbeat. I am considering Cat as my other pay up, though. I don't know if I want to go all in on this game, but I would, I'm very tempted to go Luka and Cat, two guys, spend the money, go from there. But I need to see what else happens news-wise with the centers.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I definitely like the Luka call there with him playing in this paced-up game off of a day of rest. Brunson is in play for me. Minnesota's allowed the 5th most fantasy points to shooting guards. You could also look at Dinwiddie. I'm glad you said that about Dwight Powell because I was looking at him a little bit. He did have 41 Draftkings points on Monday. I believe that Luka played in that game, right?
Buddy. He didn't play when he had the big game. Powell had the big game. Lucas.
I thought he did. It says that Luka had 38 and a half Draftkings points on Monday. So he did play in that game. But I think it goes to what you were saying, Coach, about the pace, because with the Timberwolves being that up-tempo pace, I think it favors Powell.
It could help him. Yeah. Who did they play when he had that good game?
Minnesota.
That's who they played the last time?
Yeah, when he had 41. Yeah.
Okay, well then that's a great call. And again, that plays back into that. But I don't know, man. It still feels like a trap to me. I would be shocked if Dwight Powell gets over 25 fantasy points.
Okay.
That's just me.
I will trust your expertise, Coach.
I hope, I hope it's good.
So Cat is a play for me. He's 9,700 on FanDuel, 9,800 on DraftKings. He's averaged just under 48 DraftKings points against Dallas this year. With them being back in Minnesota, I just feel like he's going to have a good game tonight. Just kind of a gut call.
Okay.
All right. So the next game, which there's a 2-hour window between the 5th and the 6th game. So I don't know what we're supposed to do for 2 hours, but
I guess I'll be driving.
Yeah, you'll be driving, so it won't matter. So we've got 10 o'clock Eastern. We've got the Houston Rockets, who are eliminated, of course. They have the worst record in the league. At the Portland Trail Blazers are 12th in the West. They're 3.5 games behind the Lakers for that last play-in spot. Somehow Houston is favored by 3.5.
Crazy.
This is the highest implied total on the slate at 235.5. So we've got the worst team in the NBA and a team on the brink of elimination. But for DFS, it's probably the best game of the night. That's just how DFS works, right?
It's crazy.
Exactly. So the main injury news that I'm looking at here, of course, Lillard and Nurkic and Nasir Little are still out. Josh Hart and Justice Winslow, and Eric Bledsoe are all out. So we did get the Hart and Winslow news early today. So those guys are out. Anthony Simons is questionable. So we're definitely going to need that news for this game. Like I said, these are two of the worst defensive teams in the league, which is why we have such a high implied total. Who do you like from each side here, Coach? And are you going to stack this game?
I'm going to have exposure, but I'm not going to be a pure stack. And you're going to see a lot of, guys do 3-2 here, stack it up, figure, no defense. My only concern is, you're just going to get a rotation of guys. Neither team is playing for anything. There's going to be minutes played by a lot of guys. But because the defense is so bad and the tempo is so good, you've got to cherry pick some guys out of here. I'll probably go one off on each side. And I can see if you want to get to two, but I think Jalen Green's in a great spot. KPJ's in a terrific spot. Christian Wood's been super hot.
Yeah.
So those are the three guys that I would, choose from on that side of the ball, with a little lean towards Jalen Green. But, if you play two of them, I would not fault you at all. On the Portland side, if Simons is in, which I don't think he will be, because why do you want to push anybody at this point? They're trying to lose games. But if he accidentally, for some reason, plays with no restrictions, and I'd have to know that for a fact, if there's no restrictions, then I would play him. But if not, I guess you go, Chris Dunn is probably the next best guy to go to. He's beat out Williams. He is a great points per minute guy. I shouldn't say great. He's good. He's a point per minute guy, DFS wise. So he's a reasonable play. Watford would probably be my next best spot there. Did you say Eubanks is out as well?
I believe Eubanks is playing.
Because that's another guy you could go to. He just signed his fourth. I don't know why they signed him to a fourth 10-day. I mean, the dude has played like 30-some minutes a game. Just sign him for the rest of the year. He's earned it. Yeah. I think that's pretty cheap of them. You never hear guys getting fourth 10 days.
Yeah,
I've heard second, and I don't even know if I've heard third that often. It's usually either cut them loose after 20 or 10 and then or sign them for the year. So anyway, just a bone to pick there. But those are really the guys I'd look at, Don Watford, Eubanks, one of those or two of those guys, and then, the other guys on the other side. So I wouldn't be like a dead stack. I don't think the optimal is going to have 5 guys from this game, but I do think, like I said, that you do need to have some exposure. How about you? Are you stacking?
I'm leaning towards it. I do like Jalen Green and Christian Wood the most on Houston. Obviously, we need the news on Anthony Simons, because if he plays, that's going to change some things for me. If he doesn't play, I like Chris Dunn, like you mentioned, for value. I also think Ben McLemore could be a decent value play here with Josh Hart and Justice Winslow both out. And then, Watford and Eubanks, obviously, Houston's allowed the most fantasy points to power forwards and centers. So those guys make a lot of sense too. But
I do have one, not to interrupt you, a question I don't want to forget. They played Şengün next to Wood for some of that game. That is a little interesting. What do you think? Is that something you think could happen? Because, Şengün's price isn't great, but he can put up 1.3 points DFS points per minute.
Yeah, he hasn't had that stealing game yet against Portland. Not saying he can't, but I did look at him quite a bit, and I got off of him. But, I mean, it could be a great play, definitely.
Okay, maybe GPP.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so the last game of the night is 10:30 Eastern, the Philadelphia 76ers at the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers are reeling here. They've lost 4 in a row. Philadelphia is favored by 5.5. It's a 221.5 implied total, so it's one of the lower totals on the slate. For me, I'm looking at primarily Joel Embiid in this game. if I don't go to Karl Anthony Towns. Not really a lot I like in this game outside of that. Maybe James Harden. What about for you, Coach?
Yeah, I hate going. It seems like I'm always going into these late games with almost no exposure. And again, I'm the first guy to preach, don't let the time of the game totally affect you as far as rostering guys. When you really think about it, it should not be any concern when they play. It's not going to change the amount of numbers they're going to give out. So when people say, well, I have to have exposure to the late game, well, why? What if the late game were, two G League teams? You're going to put guys in just because they're the late game? I mean, it makes no sense. You just need to get the points when you can't. It does suck though when you have you just got to sit and watch people climb the ladder to catch it, but it is what it is. I'm not crazy about this game. I'm with you 100%. I'm either going to go Cat or Embiid, trying to decide which one to go to. Clippers, like you said, are reeling, so I don't really trust them. But Philly's on a road trip. That West Coast road trip, you can throw some real bad games in there. So again, Embiid is on this, last 10 games or so of the season. He wants to solidify MVP. He's going for it. And so that makes me want to play him, even in a scenario here where I think they could get the better of the Clippers. He's the only guy I'd consider on the Philly side. And then on the other side of the ball, the Clippers are just, it's impossible to figure out. I can't get it right to this point between the Mans and Kennards and who are some of those other bums? They drive me crazy.
And
Coffee.
Yeah, I mean,
on
Marcus
down the road.
Morris isn't a bum, but he has his big games and then he'll have a dud.
They're not playing their guys tons of minutes right now either.
Right.
I see a lot of minutes sharing. All of a sudden, Hardenstein's getting 20 mid-20s. They even played Hardenstein and Zubats together the last game.
Oh, wow.
So if they're going to start really screwing around like that, I don't want to sit there with a Morris or a Coffee or a Man or a Kennard and they play 16 minutes. So you can have the Clippers. I'm just not interested. I'd love if Hardenstein started. I think he's been such a terrific DFS points per minute guy, but he's not.
Yeah.
So I'll roll down the road. Maybe with just sit on Embiid for that late game would be really cool, and that's about it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Coach, I think we're ready to move on to our prize picks plays of the day. Do you want to go ahead and start it out and give us your second favorite play of the day?
Well, why don't you give our people a little update on our prize picks aspect of things, our partnership and how that's been rolling so far. Not to put you on the spot, but you can look at stuff better than I can.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate everybody that's listening in. We combine because obviously I'm on the road. I'll be able to do the podcast tomorrow sitting down in front of the computer again, but I'll try to get Dirk up behind me too. But I'm appreciative of the people that tuned in to hear the prize picks plays because it's made them a lot of money recently. Why don't you fill them in on that?
Yeah, so we've been, 80% probably over the last week and a half on our prize picks plays. We've really been nailing them. We've recently partnered with @thefortune4 on Twitter, and those guys have been great. We've been doing 2 plays a day. We'll have a play and they'll have a play that we combine and we post out on Twitter. So if you haven't seen that before, definitely be looking for that. We'll have our top plays of the night for each site. And if you haven't joined Prize Picks yet, join them at prizepicks.com. Use promo code Coach DFS or Coach Talk, right?
Just Coach Talk, yeah.
Coach Talk, yeah. Promo code Coach Talk, and they will match 100% match your first deposit up to $100. So prizepicks.com, promo code Coach Talk. And with that, Coach, I think we're ready.
Absolutely. All right. My second play is under PRA 28.5, Anthony Edwards. Again, I think he'll get some Bullock defense, the slowest team in the league, Dallas, and he still has D'Angelo Russell and Patrick Beverly and Karl Anthony Towns and Jared Vanderbilt. Lots of mouths to feed there. I'm hoping that they're going to keep Mr. Edwards under 28.5 PRA.
Yep. Yeah, hopefully he does not as much against Dallas as he did against my Milwaukee Bucks when he absolutely tore them up. So
that wasn't pretty. Yeah.
That was not pretty. So for me, I am going to take the under. My second favorite play will be Luka Doncic under 8 rebounds.
Now wait a minute. Did you just say Doncic?
Yeah.
You said Doncic. It's not Doncic. I am going to take – you have to take off that hat right now. Take that Coach Talk hat off until you say Doncic.
Doncic.
There you go.
Doncic. Okay. Luka Doncic.
Oh, my. That's like saying the word Jesus wrong. Come on, dude.
I'm not going there, Coach. Oh, man.
I'm playing with you.
I know. So Luka Doncic under 8 rebounds. He's averaged 6.8 rebounds in his last 5. He's gone under in 4 of his last 5 games, and he did have 6 rebounds against Minnesota on Monday. Minnesota shoots the lights out at home, especially. So I just don't think there's going to be that many opportunities for him to get those many rebounds. So I'm taking the under.
All right. Play at your own risk. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. My top play is over PRA, and it just happens to be the same exact number as my other one. It's over 28.5 Terry Rozier. Scary Terry, for a lot of the reasons I mentioned earlier. I like some of that shift he's getting at point when ball's out. He's been scoring. This is a great matchup for an up pace, up tempo, his assist ratio, and grabs some rebounds, does the whole thing. So Terry Rozier is my top play. Be the play that we also released to our friends at, I call them the Fantastic Four, but they're the Fortune Four. So It's over PRA 28.5.
I think
there, Crash?
Yeah, I'm still here. We're having
some
technical difficulties. You still there?
You're breaking up on me.
Yeah, you're breaking up on me too. So I think you're in a little bit of a rough spot right now. It's all right.
All right. Did you get the 28? You got my
I did get play? That much. So it's Terry Rozier over 28.5 PRA.
That's it.
Okay. All right. So for me, for my top play, I'm looking at Jordan Poole over 23.5 points. As we mentioned, Atlanta is really bad on defense, especially against point guards. With Steph Curry out, I just think that, he's been hitting this number lately. I think he hits it again, probably around the 25, 26 point range is what I'm projecting for him. So I do like the over on Jordan Poole. And Coach and I both will have more of our top plays in our Discord for our members. So if you haven't joined us yet, you definitely want to join us at DFS Coach Talk, and we'll get you our top Prize Picks plays in our Discord.
Absolutely. And that's, we're giving several there. We have a Prize Picks channel right in Discord. You don't want to miss out on those. You can join us for as little as 3 days for $10. Perfect time. Always like that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have some more golf plays coming out. Baseball preseason, or not preseason, I guess, spring training games. And, catch us. We'd love to have you. And also stay in tune with us on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. Our man, Colin Chatchoff, will have all the information on there for you. And then on your way out, this is really important. We do this podcast under all circumstances. You can see today, 7 days a week for free. We want to continue to do that. We need some more thumbs up, some more likes on Twitter. We are on YouTube. We want to get both of those numbers up. So we really appreciate the thumbs up and comment. And fantastic. Great job today, Crash. Your first time hosting, correct?
Yeah, my first time hosting. So what a way to start it out, with you on the road and your big screen TV behind you and running into crazy drivers and road rage. No, not road rage, but
Well,
it's been
it's
a lot of fun.
Odd doing the show with no notes, no nothing. So it's
No,
the
you
old
did great,
coach brain.
You did
trying
great,
to squeeze out and remember.
You did a great job. Anything else you want to add before we head out?
No, I think that I'm going to send a quick text over to Donkic so that he can get slap you around a little bit. But
yeah, I think I've heard some of the major networks pronounce it Luka Doncic too. So
they should be fired on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. In the words of Coach.
All right,
everyone.
Man.
Thank you for joining us. And we're going to be back tomorrow. Coach will be back in the normal situation a little bit in front of his screen and sitting down and everything.
Two brains are better than one tomorrow, buddy.
Yeah, 2 brains are better than one. Also, we give out a free FanDuel GPP lineup, so be looking for that tomorrow. We'll join you guys tomorrow when we look to crush it in the NBA.